They tried to humiliate her in front of everyone, thinking she would crumble, but they didn't see him step forward. One quiet sentence, one calm gaze that silenced the room. Keanu Reeves didn't raise his voice, didn't need to boast, and didn't try to be the hero. Yet what he said, when Sandra Bullock was insulted, left even the critics speechless and changed the energy in the room forever. It wasn't just about protecting a friend. It was about showing the world what quiet, grounded strength truly looks like when it matters most. In a world addicted to loud opinions and empty noise, this moment reminds you that real power is in presence, not performance. You'll walk away remembering why respect matters more than attention, and why people like him are so rare. If you've ever been disrespected, watch how a man of quiet integrity responds. It will change how you carry yourself forever. They were in the middle of a press event, lights too bright, cameras blinking like restless eyes, and the air filled with fake laughter as people tried to look important. That's when it happened. Someone, thinking they were clever, made a comment about her, about how she wasn't that special, and how anyone could replace her in a heartbeat. The words were coated in sarcasm, sharp enough to draw blood, but delivered with a smile that made it even worse. You could feel the energy in the room collapse for a moment. A cold hush as people looked down at their shoes or at their phones, pretending they didn't hear what was said. It's strange how quickly people shrink back when a moment gets uncomfortable, how easily they retreat into silence to protect themselves from being the next target. She stood there, trying to keep her smile, her eyes blinking faster than usual, as if she was trying to push away the sting. You could see it in the way she shifted her weight, in the small breath she took to hold herself together, that something inside her cracked. Moments like these happen quietly, like a tiny earthquake that no one wants to acknowledge. You don't see the pain in her eyes unless you're really looking, and most people aren't looking. They're just trying to stay invisible so the wave of cruelty doesn't touch them. But there are moments when someone chooses to see what others ignore. There are moments when someone refuses to let another person stand alone in humiliation. Moments when silence is not an option. Because it's easy to laugh along, easy to stay quiet and pretend you're not a part of it. But the truth is, silence can be as loud as the insult itself. Everyone in that room had a choice, and most chose the easy one. This is why you must understand. The world tests you in small moments, in the moments no one will remember on paper, but your soul will. You are measured by how you respond when disrespect walks into the room, by whether you will let your fear of judgment keep you from standing up for what is right. That insult wasn't just a test for her. It was a test for everyone who heard it and pretended they didn't. And it is a test for you too. Every time you see someone humiliated, overlooked, or dismissed while you look away, hoping someone else will step up so you don't have to. Because when the moment arrives, and it will, you will have to choose. Will you let your silence become your story, or will you let your presence become your response? Choose presence every time. He didn't rush forward. He didn't let the tension in the room pull him into its chaos. He simply stood there, still, calm, grounded, like a mountain that doesn't flinch no matter how loud the storm becomes. While everyone else shifted uncomfortably, pretending to scroll through their phones, looking for exits, he just breathed, eyes steady, present in the moment that everyone else was trying to escape. It's easy to think that courage looks like loud speeches or fists slammed onto tables, but that's not what real power looks like. Real power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need permission to exist. It shows up quietly, anchored in the present, refusing to be pulled into the fear or the nervous laughter of the crowd. He didn't need to speak immediately because his presence was already speaking. It said, "I see what's happening, and I will not look away." It said, "You are not alone, even if you feel like you are." When you stand grounded, you remind others of who they could be if they chose not to be ruled by fear. You remind them that they, too, can stay calm when disrespect tries to dominate a room, that they can breathe instead of panic, that they can choose clarity instead of confusion. The truth is, People who try to humiliate others rely on the silence and fear of everyone else to keep their power alive. They need the laughter of the crowd, the nods of agreement, the shifting glances that signal no one will interfere. They thrive on the energy of fear. But when you remain calm, when you stand in quiet, unshakable presence, you starve that cruelty of its oxygen. You send a message without having to say a word. You remind everyone that there is a different way to be, that there is a different kind of strength that doesn't come from controlling others, but from mastering yourself. You see, presence is power. When you master your breath, your energy, your awareness, you create a space where others feel safe enough to reclaim their own dignity. In that moment, as the insult still hung in the air, he simply stood there, eyes calm, shoulders relaxed, fully alive in the discomfort that others tried to run from. And without saying anything, he became a mirror to everyone in that room. He showed them the difference between reacting and responding, between fear and presence, between noise and true power. In your life, you will face moments like this. You will witness wrongs, insults, and moments of cruelty, and you will have a choice: to shrink back into the safety of silence, or to stand grounded, calm, and fully present, letting your quiet strength speak louder than any noise around you. Let your presence become your message. He didn't rush to fill the silence. Most people do, you know. They feel the discomfort in the air, the tension pressing against their skin, and they scramble to say something, anything, to escape the heaviness of the moment. But he didn't do that. He allowed the silence to stretch, allowed everyone to feel the weight of what had just been said. In that quiet, people started to realize the cruelty of the comment, the cheapness of the laughter, the hollowness of pretending it was just a joke. Sometimes, silence itself is the first part of the response, because it forces people to confront the reality they would rather ignore. Then, when he did speak, it wasn't with anger or with a need to crush the person who made the insult. His voice was steady, low, controlled, yet it cut through the room sharper than any shout ever could. He looked directly at the person who had thrown the insult, and with a small, calm smile, he said something so simple that it made the insulter's grin fade instantly. He said, "That's not true, and you know it." That was all it took. No speeches, no aggression, no dramatic gestures. Just a single, clear sentence that carried more weight than 1,000 arguments. In that moment, the energy in the room shifted. The laughter that had followed the insult died quickly, replaced by an awkward silence that felt heavier than before. But this time, it was the right kind of heavy. It was the heaviness of accountability, of realization, of people recognizing that they had let something wrong pass without challenge. The insulter tried to shrug, tried to laugh it off again, but it didn't work anymore. Because a single, honest sentence, delivered with calm certainty, can reveal the truth and leave no space for the lie to hide. The one who had been insulted felt it too. You could see it in the way she breathed, in the small way her shoulders relaxed, in the way her eyes finally lifted to meet his. It was as if that single sentence returned her dignity to her, reminding her that she wasn't alone, that someone saw her, that she didn't have to pretend to be unaffected by words that were meant to hurt her. It showed her that sometimes you don't need to fight loudly to stand up for yourself or others. You just need to speak the truth when it matters most. You will have moments in your life when a single sentence can change the direction of a room, can call out the lie that everyone else is pretending not to see. You don't need to yell. You don't need to fight to prove your strength. You just need to tell the truth, calmly, clearly, and without fear, because that is enough to silence the noise and bring the moment back to what is real. Let your truth be louder than their noise. Most people don't realize how much they crave attention until a moment like that tests them. It's easy to think that the loudest voice in the room is the most powerful, that the one who can grab the most eyes and the most applause is the one who truly matters. But it isn't true. That's not what respect looks like. That's not what real strength looks like either. After that simple sentence cut through the tension, He didn't look around to see if people were clapping for him, didn't check if people approved, didn't wait for validation from the crowd. He wasn't there to gain points or to make himself look heroic in front of the cameras. He wasn't trying to trend, wasn't trying to collect praise. His focus remained steady on the person who had been insulted, and in that gaze there was no need for attention, only quiet respect. You see, in a world addicted to attention, it's rare to witness someone who moves from a place of genuine care rather than the desire to be seen. That's what makes these moments so powerful. People in that room felt it, even if they didn't have the words to name it. They felt the difference between someone stepping in to make themselves the savior and someone stepping in because it was the right thing to do. The first kind of action feels heavy, like it demands gratitude and recognition. The second kind of action feels light, clean, and true. When you choose respect over attention, you don't need the world to notice you. You don't need to gather praise to confirm your worth. You don't need people to call you a hero to feel complete. Because your action itself is the reward, and the way you carry yourself in those moments will stay with you, even when no one else is looking. You will face moments in your life where you will be tempted to act just so others will see you, praise you, recognize your courage. But remember, the world doesn't need more people performing for attention. It needs more people choosing to stand firm in what is right, even if nobody ever says thank you. It needs people who can step in with calm strength, who can say what needs to be said, and then walk away quietly, knowing that the truth doesn't need an audience to matter. Respect is silent, but its impact echoes. It is the way you look someone in the eye when they feel unseen. It is the way you speak up without the need to destroy someone else to prove your point. It is the way you hold your ground without needing the world to notice. It is the strength you show when you protect someone's dignity while asking for nothing in return. Let your respect be louder than your need for recognition. After he spoke those simple words, the room changed. You could feel it. The air, once thick with fake laughter and nervous shifting, suddenly cleared, leaving everyone face with the reality of what had just happened. The person who made the insult looked away, fumbling with their notes, shrinking in the same space where they once tried to appear powerful. Others who had stayed silent started to see themselves in the reflection of that moment, questioning why they laughed, why they didn't speak, why they allowed themselves to blend into the comfort of the crowd. And she felt it most. The weight that had settled on her shoulders when that cruel comment was thrown lifted, even if only a little. Her breath deepened, her eyes stopped blinking so quickly, and for a moment she stood taller, reminded that she wasn't alone. It's one thing to tell yourself to be strong in the face of disrespect, but it's another to feel that someone else will stand with you when it counts. That single sentence, delivered without anger but with complete certainty, returned her dignity in a way that even she hadn't expected. The others in the room saw it too. Some felt a quiet shame, recognizing the moments in their own lives where they failed to step up, where they allowed a cruel word to slip by to protect their own comfort. Some felt inspired, understanding for the first time how a calm word can be stronger than a loud defense, how it is possible to protect someone's dignity without needing to crush someone else in the process. It was as if the ripple of that moment extended into the quiet corners of every person watching, reminding them of what they are capable of when they choose presence over fear. It's moments like these that remind you the world doesn't change in grand gestures alone. It changes in these small, almost invisible ripples, in the quiet ways people choose to stand up for each other, in the seconds where you decide to speak when it would be easier to stay silent. When someone sees you choose what is right over what is easy, it gives them permission to do the same the next time it is their turn. It creates a chain reaction of courage, one small moment at a time, one simple sentence at a time. And you, watching this, listening, you are part of that ripple too. You are part of that choice, because the world will test you with moments like this, moments where you can look away or step in, where you can laugh along or speak up, where you can hide behind fear or choose quiet courage. Every moment like this shapes who you are and who you will become. Be the reason someone remembers they are not alone. You might think this was just a moment between two actors, a small incident that would fade into the endless noise of headlines and interviews. But it wasn't just about that day or that room. It was a reminder for her, for everyone watching, and for you, of what it means to carry quiet power in a world that wants you loud, reactive, and constantly chasing validation. It was a reminder that the way you handle small moments is exactly how you prepare yourself for the bigger moments that will come. The truth is, you don't know when these moments will find you. You don't get a warning when you will see someone being humiliated, disrespected, or broken down by careless words. You don't get to prepare a speech or rehearse your courage in front of a mirror. These moments happen suddenly, in hallways, in group chats, in meetings, in family gatherings, in everyday spaces where no camera is rolling and no one will remember the details. But you will remember. You will remember if you looked away. You will remember if you laughed when you didn't want to. You will remember if you chose silence because you thought it was safer. And you will remember if you chose to stand in quiet strength instead, because it wasn't the loudest person in the room that day who changed everything. It wasn't the person who tried to gain attention by tearing someone down. It was the one who chose presence over performance, truth over silence, respect over cheap approval. It was the one who understood that the way you carry yourself, the way you choose to respond when no one is asking you to, is how you build your own character, your own backbone, your own path toward becoming someone you can respect. She left that room knowing she was not alone. Others left knowing they had witnessed a different kind of power, the kind that doesn't need noise to be felt. And you, sitting here now, you get to decide what kind of person you will be when these moments find you. You get to decide if you will be the one who holds the line of respect, the one who restores dignity with a single sentence, the one who refuses to let cruelty pass unnoticed. In the end, it is never about being seen as a hero. It is about choosing to become the kind of person who can quietly, calmly, and firmly protect what is right in a world that often forgets what that looks like. Let your quiet courage remind the world how true strength is carried. So remember this. The world doesn't need more noise. It doesn't need more people chasing applause, more people reacting from fear, more people turning away when disrespect steps into the room. It needs you. It needs your calm presence when others panic. It needs your quiet courage when silence feels safer. It needs your steady voice when someone else's dignity is on the line. Because every moment you choose presence over performance, respect over attention, truth over fear, you are shaping yourself into someone unshakable, someone whose strength doesn't need to be announced because it is felt, someone who doesn't just walk through the world but changes the energy of every room they enter. And when that moment comes for you, and it will, remember, you don't need to fight loudly to stand firmly. You don't need to be seen to make an impact. You just need to stand your ground, speak your truth, and let your quiet strength remind the world how true power is carried. Stand like that, live like that. Walk away with your spirit unshaken.